players, man. They gotta play with a little more heart.
What's wrong with you, Tim Weah? Like, why you have to get that red card against Panama? We could have still been in it. You know, that's all I have to say.
Yes, it's good that everyone plays in Europe, but they're none of them are leaders on their teams in Europe.
All right, guys, so usually we do the before and the after in one whole video, but there's a lot of different opinions and clips for the fans that we talk to after the match. So we're going to put it here in like a separate video for you guys, so go check it out. The fans' reaction to the U.S. losing to Uruguay 0-1 and getting eliminated in the 2024 Copa America. Check out the reactions right now.
We need Gregg Berhalter out, man. We need some goals. We need a win. We bring in strikers in like the last 10 minutes or so. We brought in Haji Wright, Pepe, Malik Tillman, Josh Sargent. They all couldn't get it done, so this is what we need. We need Gregg out. We need better substitutions from our next coach. Most importantly, we need a striker. Somebody find a striker out there, man. Bring him to America. If, they got, the passport and whatnot. But, yeah, we need a striker, man. That's what we need.
I know you mentioned the manager, right? Is that the main change you would make? Or is there other changes? What needs to change for this team to do better than this?
No, I don't think it's the manager only. I think we need a new rotation of players, man. People always talking about golden generation. These players play. Yeah, that man said it right. Fire Gregg, but these players, man, they gotta play with a little more heart. Just thinking back to the 2016 Copa America, the one that lost to Argentina 4-0. Unfortunately, they made it out the group though. Large majority of that team is in MLS. People hate those players for whatever reason. I think they bring a lot of heart, man. Unpopular opinion, man. Let's get some more MLS players. Can't just focus on getting European players and saying, oh, they play in Europe, they're the best.
The thing that makes me most disappointed is that this team was supposed to make it further than the 2016 team that made it all the way to the semifinals, and they didn't. And people talk all the time about how Jurgen Klinsmann was a bad coach, except he took a team with Jesse Zardes and Bobby Wood in the front line to the semifinal against a group that was harder than our group, right? And what I don't want also is for our fan or the internet, because I know how soccer internet is, to be awful to Tim Weah and Ballo again, because I mean the racism was horrible, and I don't want that to happen again. And they don't deserve it, and also we should have done better.
Yeah, it's hard. I mean, you can blame Gregg. I mean, you can blame Tim Weah a lot, but we had an opportunity. We're on the field, and we didn't score. We didn't do what we needed to do. So it really doesn't matter. And this team needs to step up. Like the last person you interviewed said, they're kids. They're kids, but what we need is a leader. And what past teams have had are leaders on their club teams. We've got, maybe we didn't have the best players, but we had players that were captains at their MLS clubs, right? Like Bedoya, we had Beckerman, all these people were leaders, so we had a leadership mentality. And I think, yes, it's good that everyone plays in Europe, but none of them are leaders on their teams in Europe. There's one player that's a leader on their team in Europe, and that's Tim Ream, and he's obviously aging out soon. So what we really need is leadership by a player. And I don't know if replacing Gregg, I am for replacing Gregg, but who's going to replace him?
Yeah, that's the question. Right?
Who is going to replace him? What, is Jurgen Klopp going to come over here and replace him? Of course not. We don't really have a better option. And, yeah, exactly. What are we going to do? What we need is a leader on the field. And Christian's been interviewed many times and says he's not someone that speaks up. We need more leaders on the field. And until we do that, we're not going to have great results.
So you think it's on the players, you think?
I think it's a lot. Tim Weah shouldn't have done what he did. But also, I think there's a part of me that misses the fight from the previous generations, and I wonder if because the players are really young and they are well, we know we're good and we've been told that we need to play in the system, I should do XYZ. But ultimately, we've been watching the Euros, the Copa America, etc., right? There's so many games where we've watched players just Jude Bellingham was just F it, Gareth Southgate sucks, I'm just gonna do my thing. And right, and okay, I'm not saying Christian Pulisic, etc., are as good as Jude, but we have those guys. They just weren't being those guys, and those guys also love Gregg. So I I don't know. I don't know what needs to change, but well, also we should probably not get dumb red cards. That fucking sucks.
All right, guys, so I know it's disappointing the U.S. is out of the 2024 Copa America, but it doesn't have to be all completely over, guys, because we could still have a little bit of fun by making some picks with Underdog Fantasy. Underdog Fantasy, guys, it is the best way to play daily fantasy sports games. All you have to do is pick higher or lower on certain stats for certain players, and if you get all your picks correct, you get to win a bit of money. Like I said, I'm not going to be able to make any more picks with the U.S. men's national team in the Copa America, but as I watch the other games in this tournament, I'm going to be making some picks. I'm going to be watching extra closely, and I'll have a team to root for now that the U.S. is out, guys. I win some, I lose some with all the picks I made in the past, but it still is always a good time because you watch the game more closely, you're more invested, you're having more fun. I didn't have that much fun tonight, but at least I can continue to be interested in the other games because of the picks that I make with Underdog Fantasy. Guys, if you want to make some picks and you want to play their pick'em game, go sign up using the link in the description and make sure you use the promo code SuperSub so you can get your special pick and a first-time deposit offer of up to $250 in bonus cash. And when you guys do that, it really does help out the channel, so thank you for doing that. And also big thanks to our sponsor, Underdog Fantasy.
I'm severely disappointed with the result. I mean, obviously it stems from the Panama game. I mean, if we took care of business in the Panama game, we wouldn't be stressing as much about this game. So at the end of the day, we had everything to play for, and we came up short, and especially on home ground, it's just severely disappointing. We shouldn't have been in this position, but even so, we got to come out with the result.
Really disappointed. Today, first half, we were excellent. We hustled. We did good graft, but ultimately, game came down to the game against Panama. Tim Weah, he let the country down. I'm sorry about that, but it's the truth. We knew coming in we had to beat Bolivia, we had to beat Panama. And the Uruguay game shouldn't have meant anything other than first or second place. And now, here we are. We're going out. I thought we had a good game today. Uruguay played their usual football.
Get Gregg out. Gregg's got to go.
It could have gone either way, but the tournament was lost last game.
The game could have gone either way. I don't know. People at home said it was definitely offside on the goal, but I couldn't tell from the stadium. Either way, we didn't generate enough chances. They're a good team. We blew this against the game against Panama.
I'll be honest. Maybe I was in over my head. I said, this team here on home soil, we can make a semifinal run, right? I was optimistic. Am I just delusional, or did they disappoint?
You're not delusional. Obviously, the Panama game, we would have probably crushed Panama without that red card. And I'm not so mad about the red card, I'm mad that it was in the 17th minute. If it was in the 70th minute and things are getting scrappy, then it's fine. We can do that for 20 minutes. We can do it for 25, 30 if it's in the 70th or 80th. But we can't do that in the 17th minute and stay the whole game, even against a team that's definitely not as good as us. So, yes, that game screwed us. If we had won that and then lost this one, it wouldn't be a big deal.
Copa America being here, hosted in the U.S., right? Some players coming off of good seasons. There's a good feeling, at least from me, right? But is it just delusion to think that this team could have made a long run, or did they actually disappoint? Was this to be expected, or should they have done better?
I don't think it was a delusion. I mean, I think against Panama, you get a red card in the 17th minute. That changes the game. You don't expect that. How much is that on the coach? I don't know. Yeah, I mean, it's his job to make sure they're ready for that and they don't, succumb to that, the gamesmanship. Yeah. But, 1-0 against Uruguay, that's not a terrible result in the end. If they had beat Panama and we got lost 1-0 here, you would have been like, okay, sure. Right. But losing the Panama game, that's one you can't lose. Especially when you go up a goal, even if you're down to 10 men, you went up a goal. You got conservative at halftime. I mean, I think that's where you made the wrong decisions, right? Put on a center back at halftime, took out Gio, lost control of the game. Look at Europe. The big teams against the small teams. If they go down a man, they still control the game. And so maybe we could have done that. We had much better players than Panama, and we didn't. And I think that's where we lost the opportunity, right? This was always going to be a long shot to win this game, especially when they came out and played their A team, right? I mean, you hoped maybe they would rest some people, but they didn't. And I was surprised they didn't take out Darwin Núñez at halftime after he got a yellow card. but Bielsa went for it, and so it is what it is.
I don't think we should be so morose because it was a good performance, but we didn't. We have to put the ball in the back of the net. And are we still talking about Ballo got hurt or whatever? But like we're still kind of looking for that number 9. Like Pepe came in and it wasn't game changing. Like we've had those power players, Zardes. We've had like I was saying, some of the people we need some of those big bodies. Like Altidore, there's some we're all kind of small guys, and we're fighting in CONCACAF most of the time. We need to have some real guys that can fight.
Tell me what you think. Obviously, as a U.S. fan, disappointing tournament, disappointing game. I mean, how are you feeling right now?
I think that we showed up really well after the Panama game. It was one of the best games that I've probably seen as a U.S. fan. They put a lot of pressure on Uruguay, especially in the first 40 minutes, until Weston went over to the right. But there's got to be a little pressure on Gregg. It was really good from him. It was really good. The right lineup you wanted, the right amount of players going forward. The pressure was exactly what we were looking for for the response. But there's got to start to be a little bit more pressure. So in September, we have to see what type of friendlies we're coming against. And who are we doing to get better? Because this is a good group of players we're coming against that we have coming up.
They played a good game.
There's a good group of players that we have right now, and they showed that right here against one of the top 5 teams in the world. These teams, Uruguay was destroying teams, and we just showed that we can hang with them. You can blurb this out, but Comebol, that goal is offsides.
People need to stop being.
But it was a good showing by the U.S. It was a very good showing by the U.S.
Good showing for 0 goals.
But you have to
For
see,
zero
you have to see,
goals.
you have to see who
it's not
we're
that.
coming against in the next couple of friendlies.
Are we going to expect 0
and what
goals?
can we?
Are we going to expect 0
And
goals?
what can we? And
Are we
what can
going
we
to
do with
expect to
it?
beat good teams?
Because this is
that's
it
what
was
it
it
is.
was
It's
it was
right
a
here.
very fun game to watch.
It's all we expect.
It was a very good fun game to
We
watch.
expect right here.
But we have
That's
to
it.
start pushing this team. They're a great group of players, and it's exciting to see what they can do in the World Cup that's going to be here.
So what do you guys think needs to change? I mean, obviously, you mentioned there's good players. You mentioned so we want more, right? Obviously, there's good players. We're excited about them.
We need new blood. We need somebody to come in that's new, so everybody can reprove themselves. Because right now,
a new manager.
We need a new manager because everyone.
I think there should be pressure.
Have
I think
you
there should be
broken
pressure.
down the tournament? When you think about international
everyone
football.
To reprove themselves. Gio should not start.
Okay, no.
Gio should
Hold on,
not
hold on.
start.
When you
was the best-
when you
I
think
think he was our
about
best
when you
player
think
in the
about international football, there's one.
You don't like Gio?
There's one.
First game, she's nothing. He
Dude,
showed up against Panama,
hold
we
on.
would've moved
Stop
on.
being emotional about it.
If he should've
You got to
showed
think
up
about what
against Panama,
international
we would've
football
done.
is.
Okay,
International
good
football
thing
is about getting out of the group,
Denise, I
right?
love you.
There was a. Hey, international football is about getting out of the group, right? We were on that path. We had an unlucky red call against Panama, and that changed the whole
Did we
trajectory.
go up 1-0?
Right, but we were still 10 men down.
Did we go up 1-0?
We were
And
still
then-
10 men
And
down.
then what changes did he make at halftime?
It doesn't matter though. It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter.
Carter
If
Vickers
you watch
gave
the
up
game,
all those goals,
all
and he
those
did
the
nothing.
boys gave it everything they had in that.
They
In
gave
that.
everything
He
they had.
listens
There
to
was
Alexi-
80 minutes.
He listens to Alexi
Nothing.
Lawless
Nothing.
every week.
Nothing. We need
He
new
listens to
blood.
Alexi Lawless
We need
every
people
week.
to reprove themselves. Carter Vickers did nothing. All the changes he made at halftime versus Panama made us lose.
I want to say
So we need a new manager.
Coming
we need
forward-
an in-game manager. Berhalter does not know how to manage in games. He doesn't know what to do. He doesn't have no clue what to do. So we need.
I'll give
somebody
him
that
the
can come in.
Belligan
What do you-
substitution
what do you-
was a
what do you
little weird
expect to do when
against
you're down a
Panama
fucking
because
man?
Belligan was playing very well when
There's
they were
nothing
down
you
to
could do when
10.
you're down a
But
man.
also,
Not
against
go
Panama.
5-3-1, which we never did. Go
There's
4-4-1.
nothing you could do.
4-4-1.
We were
sitting
down a
back
man
like a
and we were
5-3-1.
playing well.
We were sitting back
We were
like
going
that.
for the tie,
We
and
were
if you
doing
watch the
well.
game, the boys were defending well. That we were unlucky. We conceded. We went down 2-1. It had nothing to do with us playing poorly. It was a result of us being tired, and they were up a man.
excuses, no
If you
excuses.
watch those guys,
No
they were
excuses.
cramping up,
Tired?
dude. No,
Tired?
no, dude. They're
Tired?
human
We're
beings at
tired?
the end of the day.
And that's going to do it for us, guys, here in front of Arrowhead Stadium in Kansas City, Missouri. I mean, I had to try and force myself to put on a smile when I'm doing these interviews so that, like, the people don't hate me, right? But, I mean, it makes you feel, like, as a fan, like you're dumb. You know, you say things, you talk a big game, you make your predictions, and then it's just so disappointing. So disappointing. It's just a sport. That's sometimes it's just a game. Don't get too invested. Don't worry about it. But I'm disappointed, guys. But I'm gonna go home. I'm gonna get 10-piece nuggets, French fries, and a strawberry milkshake from McDonald's. I'm going to try and move on from this. And yeah, I don't know. I've been following the team around making these videos, and we're going to have to pick another team to follow, I guess, and make some more videos for you guys. But if you like this video, guys, don't forget to like it and subscribe to the channel. My name is JT Duenas. Thank you so very much for watching. You're watching Super Sub Soccer. Have a good one. Scally's injured. I think Shaq Moore is coming in.